Preservation Society. God save Donald Duck for the bill and variety. We are the
people that love that feeling of empowerment, you know, versus people who might not. And it's really interesting to think about it. I'm not sure it must play a role. Like,
well, I can take that for a second.
Please.
I think it's finding that motivation. Like, I didn't focus on my stuttering until I had to. So my motivation was I was covert, but I was no longer able to hide my stuttering anymore. So my motivation for working on my stuttering was, well, now I'm stuttering very openly and I don't know what to do. So I got to do something. And I don't know how to talk about it. So I knew that I had to talk about it. So I actually had to find a therapist who could help me talk about stuttering. Where did you find your motivation to do the debate team? Like, aside from just wanting, or was just wanting to do it enough?
Yeah, I wanted to do it. I think maybe if my close friends didn't want to do it also, I might not have had that extra push. It might have been something I wanted to shy away from, but just I love that competitive aspect of it. My coaches were super supportive. I mean, they're people I still keep in touch with. Like, my debate coach was like the football coach in terms of that person who would really push you, and I would look forward to it every year. So maybe that was just it. I wanted it, and I just decided to go after it. And it might sound kind of simple, but I think that's how it happened.
See, it's interesting because it almost is a little bit unusual just because StutterTalk tends to go to conferences like the National Stuttering Association or Our Time, or talk to people from the American Institute, and people involved with those groups tend to be facing a huge challenge. It almost sounds as if for you it was more of an annoyance than this earth-breaking thing. And is that
a little bit? But you know what? Thinking about that and thinking about some other people I've met through the NSA or Our Time, I think part of the thing, so I went after the debate team, but I feel if I hadn't had that support though in doing it, it might be a different story. If I hadn't had coaches who were extremely supportive and who saw in me that I could still do this. Like, I had also tried, I was also on the mock trial team too, but the coach there wasn't as supportive. So it was something I kind of pushed aside more, and I felt my stuttering had something to do with that. But back to what you said, you know what, it was something, I always felt it was more of a challenge for me socially, and that was a little more earth-shattering, but annoyance is a good word.
annoying? Well, how was it more of a challenge socially?
Like I said, I felt I was not that high school girl that would talk on the phone all the time because I didn't want to pick up the phone. I was way too scared of calling someone and not being able to get out their name. So it was difficult meeting new people and socializing like that if I wasn't able to see them face to face or ask them earlier in the day if we could hang out later or something.
Yeah, I used to do that too. Yeah. Like you find ways to set up later situations that are going to happen.
Yeah.
One thing that totally helped me out was if I had to make some sort of phone call, telling the person I was going to call them.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yes, yeah. Because this way it wasn't so hard. You knew it was going to come, or... Well, you mean, like, if earlier in the day, if you said, hey, I'm going to call you later at such time?
Well, basically what it was I would have this fear that I would call the person and I wouldn't be able to say my name. I wouldn't be able to tell them because they wouldn't know I was calling. But once they knew I was calling, somehow it just became easier for me to talk, because they already knew I was calling.
Yeah.
So I didn't need to make that part of the interaction happen.
Yeah. It's almost like a lost generation simply because I have students now who they'll say similar things and then they'll say, yeah, but I'll just send a text message.
Yeah, or if you have a cell phone,
Right.
then you just call that person's cell phone and
Yeah, but
right, because they know it's you, and
Yeah.
the number is going to come up, and you know you're probably going to get them also, as opposed to getting somebody else.
oh,
and
I
asking.
see. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. So, oh.
For me, the worst thing as a kid, making phone calls and stuff, was calling the person's house and maybe
Yeah.
not getting the person I was calling, like getting their parents or getting their brother or sister or something. That freaked me out. And when I knew I would, I'm thinking of a very specific time when I was about to, I was getting people's addresses for my bar mitzvah because I was sending them invitations.
Oh my God.
So I was totally into this girl named Amy, and I had to call her up, you know, and I knew like weeks ahead of time. But for weeks I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, I have to call this girl at her house. What if her brother picks up? What if her mom picks up? Just freaking out about it for no reason. And then, of course, I call her and she picks up the phone, you know. But weeks just spent anguishing over what was gonna happen.
I get a
Oh,
kick.
it's so silly to look back on, but it was so hard.
Dude, when I was 13, I was totally into like Transformers. And you're like totally into Amy. That's really funny.
I used to hate calling up a friend's house, and this would still happen if I had to call her up while she was at her parents' house. Be like, hi, can I talk to Sarah? Sarah, Elana is calling. You know?
Oh.
I
So
I would hate that.
finishing what
Yeah.
you were saying, you mean?
Yeah,
That's. Ugh.
yeah.
Well, what? Let's follow up on that. Why do you think? What was it about that bothered you so much?
Just like, I don't even, you know what, I don't even know, just that they knew, I think at the time it was that they knew it was Elana calling because of the stuttering.
Right.
Or, I mean, maybe they knew my voice also, I tried to say, but I felt like if I hadn't started to stutter, they would have, if I didn't stutter, it would have just said her name, so it wouldn't have been a problem. Maybe they felt like they were helping me out by not allowing me to finish it, but I always hated it and would avoid calling.
I always felt it was like the loss of control. But Pam, you're being very silent.
Well, because I'm concentrating on videotaping this, so I'm going to actually stop in a minute
Okay.
so that I
Can
can
you-
talk more and pay attention here.
Put
Appreciation Society. God save strawberry jam and all the different varieties. Preserving the old ways from being abused. Protecting the new ways for me and for you. What more can we do? We are the Draft Beer Preservation Society. God save Mrs. Moss.